Cancer. Cancer.
Cancer.
Cancer.
Cancer.
Cancer.
Cancer.
Cancer.
Cancer.
My dad just turns around and goes, "Yeah, Mum's got cancer."
Good afternoon, Mrs. Hanrahan. We've got your results and you have got breast cancer.
Cancer, an evil or destructive practice or phenomenon that is hard to contain or eradicate. Millions of people are affected by cancer every day. Throughout this short documentary, you will experience how cancer has affected certain individuals and the people around them.
It's something that needs to be understood just as much as, like, smoking or alcohol. What the hell is going to happen? Like, it's all just one big question where there's like loads of little questions surrounding it, but you really don't know what's going on. It's kind of like a big misty cloud. We thought it was a tummy bug, so my dad just took her to the hospital, and it was my dad that actually told us. My dad rang me up and said, we got bad news, I'm going to pick you up and I'm going to take you to the hospital. So immediately I was just sitting at home like, oh, what's going on? Like, obviously I thought it was just like some really bad cold at first. And then, when we're taken into the hospital and I see my mum just sitting there, just like with various tubes like going in there or whatever. And then my dad just turns around and goes, "Yeah, Mum's got cancer." Half an hour ago I was in a jolly mood. It was a couple of days before Christmas. Everyone was just kind of like happy family, but in an instant it just flicks and switches. I can remember sitting there with Christmas dinner, like just me, my dad and my brother, and it was just silent. Like usually, like everyone's having a good time. There's music in the background. Like everyone's jolly. Like drinks are flying everywhere. But like it was just kind of like more mellow.
After receiving the letter to say to go back to Charing Cross, then I started all the tests, the biopsies and things like that. Then there was another wait to get the results, and we waited and waited, and then we got the results, and we went into this room and there was a doctor sitting there with a nurse, and he just said, "Good afternoon, Mrs. Hanrahan, we've got your results and you have got breast cancer," just like that. And we just looked at each other, my husband and I, just, it was just, you can't describe the feeling that it is, because 1001 thoughts go through your mind. But we just went out into the corridor and sort of clung on to each other. And then I said, "Oh, come on, let's go and have a cup of tea," because then we had to go and get on the underground to come home. And that was the longest underground journey I've ever been on. And people kept saying, "Oh, how did you get on?" And people didn't expect it to be a positive result because I was so well. I was a fit person and I was well, so they didn't expect it at all. And I didn't know because I'd done all the examinations myself and I didn't have any lumps or anything. But I was told afterwards that if I had felt a lump, it would have been too late and they wouldn't have been able to do anything about it. So it was good that I'd gone for the mammogram and it had been picked up early. Well, the family support I had was wonderful because we're a very close family anyway. I worried about how they would react to it because it worried me, and also it worried me that at one stage I thought, oh, I won't see my grandsons grow up to become men, and I thought it was a very difficult time for me, not thinking about myself really, but thinking about what would happen to the people if I wasn't here anymore. And the other thing was I was really sick because I had the treatment afterwards, and it's the sickness. The sickness was absolutely horrendous. Just could not keep food down whatsoever, and my husband, he struggled to cope with that really, and I was lucky because I had really good family and neighbours around me that helped me a lot really through that time, especially when I was really being sick and bad, and my next door neighbour, she had to rush me back to the hospital because I just wanted to die. Just wanted to die because I felt so ill. But then I got over it and I'm fine now. I'm back to work, working with the children, and everything's fine. As I say, go back for the routine checkups, and thank God everything's okay up to now. A bit like when they tell you, yes, you have got cancer, because you can't really believe it. You hope, but until somebody actually says, oh, we've got all the tests back and I'm pleased to tell you that you have got the all clear. We just looked at each other, my husband and I just looked at each other, and we just went, and she said, I can see your reaction. Go away and have a cup of tea and then come back and we'll go into more details about what happens now. So we did that, and we went and sat in a corner and had another cry because there had been a lot of tears. But they were tears of joy this time.
We decided to visit Dr. Riddle, the head of oncology at West Middlesex Hospital, to gain more information on cancer.
Trust in me, and you will find infinity, infinity. Take your time to trust in me, and you will.
There have been so many advances. It really is an exciting time in oncology, and that's one of the things that actually helps oncologists to avoid burning out.
To stay positive.
To stay positive, is because there's so much fascinating research that's going on. Now we have an array of different drugs and biological treatments with monoclonal antibodies, in addition to some other interventions that can be used to treat metastatic colon cancer. So now the average survival is more than 2 years. So survival for these patients has tripled in the last 15 years. And that's just one example. Well, because there's been huge amounts of resource put into cancer research, it's such an emotive topic, and in the UK and across the world it's always one of the #1 fundraisers. But there are certain types of cancer that are becoming much more treatable and much more controllable, much more like a chronic disease. So that's why the importance of research ongoing is that we keep finding different ways to attack to treat the tumours. Within cancer research, and there will be entire units which are devoted to research into one particular type of cancer. So even within breast cancer, there will be research teams who specialise in looking at various different subtypes of breast cancer. Survival for these patients has tripled in the last 15 years.
Well, thank God, I'm one of the lucky ones.
Then my dad just turns around and goes, yeah, mum's got cancer.